Investor's Edge with Gary Kaltbaum. Straight talk about you and your money. Now from the BizTalk studios, here is Gary Kaltbaum.
And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. I'm Gary Kaltbaum, your host. Hey, thanks for being with us today. Glad you're here, ladies and gentlemen. Happy that you are listening. Monday, September 16th, 2024. Hope you had a good weekend. I was in New York, father in the hospital, 2 broken ribs. Well, they say broken. I think he's okay, but 92 years old. I hung out with him 18 hours and 2 days, came back. My wife's going there in the morning for the rest of the week. I'll fly back later in the week unless need be. I'll go there in a nanosecond. Mom is home, has the 24/7 help. It's everything I received from each and every one of you that have gone through this is exactly what the family is going through. And the hope is he's going to be 93 October 20th. My mom is 91. We think about, wow, what a miracle to live that long when their friends and relatives have been gone, most of them a very long time. On the other end, though, very tough to watch and see the frustration on their part, the inability to do things that were normal for them. And it is such, I think you all get it when I say an emotional adjustment. But when all is said and done, our only thought as family is to let them or help them live life as well as can be. And I think we are doing that job, but it's still not easy. And of course, my father and I watched the Giants play Washington yesterday, which made the day even worse. But I digress. Again, hope you had a good weekend. In case you don't know, this is Investor's Edge, serious talk on everything that matters to you. We should change the name of the show to Investors in Politics Edge, because right now we have to do the election in a very big way. And if you do not get this radio show in your city, we'll post it at GaryK.com. We'll also post it on our Twitter feed, which is now X. And if you don't follow us on X, you should. And if you'd like to email us, just be nice, because we'll be nice back. That's all. You can disagree with us 100%. We can disagree with you 100%, but, no need to fight. And again, serious talk. We're going to do the elections, their policies. Last month, I wish I was making this up. We sent our government $308 billion. 307, I'm off by one. They spent $688 billion. Do you know why they're doing that now? Why they've amped it up? $381 billion deficit last month for the economy. So the scam by this government continues. I'd say it to their face. Done on purpose. I don't even know where to begin. But we do begin with another assassination attempt. And as you know, we don't pull any punches here. We wish there were 2 other people running for the presidency. We believe that Kamala Harris is a made-up character now, changing her whole life story, her whole policy bings in order to win an election. Bernie Sanders, by accident, let that out of the bag, but we already knew that. When you hear the words flip-flop, she has taken flip-flopping to championship levels. I believe, and we don't use this as a pejorative word, Marxist. Marxism economically is just what I call control freakism. We've been telling you forever they do it with rules, regulations, fees, fines, mandates, taxes, and now giveaways. When it comes to Trump, we have been telling you we just can't. We just don't think he's presidential. We need presidential with some of his policies. I think he's too chaotic. He's proven that time and time again. But what I want to really discuss is the BS. There was another assassination attempt. And what BS am I talking about is the media. We just call them here the joke. They're really not media. They're basically part of the Democratic National Committee. Amazingly, here is this man, Donald Trump, faults and all. And may I state for the record, we think there's aplenty. A lot of things that he has said, the people he hangs around with. On policies, we don't like his debt and deficits and spending. We don't like tariffs. We love the tax cuts. We love his backing of Israel and Jews. Then he goes and says, if you don't vote for him, you're not a good Jew. You get my point. A little back and forth. There are people that blame him on COVID for the way he handled it. We don't. We think COVID was a variable, changing every day. People were dying every day. Decisions had to be made on the run. I know there's people that blame Fauci. We don't blame Fauci. We blame COVID. People were dying left and right. But nowhere in this, I don't care what's said, what's done, is somebody wanting to commit murder. And we had another schmuck wanting to commit murder. And when I talk about the media, all I heard from the media upon the assassination attempt, it was Trump's fault. It's his rhetoric that caused it. It incited this man. He's not a man, he's an animal. And I'm thinking to myself, and by the way, this all matters because this all leads to the elections, and this election is going to be about whether somebody's going to raise our taxes $5, $6, $7 trillion. More rules, regulations, fees, fines, mandates, mallets over our head, and machetes cutting our knees out. It's Trump's fault that somebody tried to murder him? That's the media. And of course, they never say it that way, but they say it. Go look at the dude on NBC. I forgot his name. Let me be clear about a couple of things on rhetoric. I have watched since Trump became a candidate. Do you know what they've said about him? Do you know what they've called him? Rhetoric. They've been saying in the last few years that he's Hitler. He's Hitler. He's Mussolini. He's Pol Pot. He's getting paid off by Putin. End of democracy. Destroy the country. Destroy all our dreams. And I can sit here for an hour about what they're saying. The Democrats are out there saying, no, we're good. Do you know they did the same thing to Romney? They did the same thing to Bush. Remember what they did to Palin? They've been doing it forever. Yet the media's out protecting them on their rhetoric, but it's the other person's. I must tell you, it's quite amazing to watch. And just remember, all of this is in plain sight, what they say about him. You've had a couple of congressmen saying destroy, get rid of, little words like that. Yet it's Trump that caused somebody to try and murder him. Interesting. So just letting you know, it's game on again. Back in the last election with Biden, the media blacked out Hunter Biden and his criminality and the Biden family's crimes, which nothing will ever happen to them. Taking in, $25 million of just influence peddling jackassery. The news reports 90% negative on Trump, 90% positive on Biden. They're doing the same thing now with Harris and Trump. Up next, we'll put a little bow tie on it, get to the markets. Got lots of things to say on the markets. I'm Gary. This is the one and only Investor's Edge.
Hi, I'm Gary Kaltbaum, host of the nationally syndicated radio show Investor's Edge. We're not just handsome radio people. We manage investors' money for a living, specializing in fee-based discretionary money management. No big commissions, just a fee on the assets that's managed. We also provide a full range of personalized services, including retirement planning, fixed income, and educational needs, all to assist you in achieving your financial goals. Understanding not all individuals have the same needs, we'll carefully evaluate your personal goals to determine a proper investment strategy. If your current approach to investing is not getting you to where you would like to be, call us to make an appointment for a complimentary portfolio review. The number to call is 888-422-5559. That's 888-422-5559. That's 888-422-5559. Investment advisory services offered through Kaltbaum Capital Management.
It's time to switch on the integrator units and get the brain cells working.
You're listening to...
Hey, this promises to be fun.
Investor's Edge.
The last bastion of quality programming.
With Gary Kaltbaum.
It doesn't get better than this.
So let's put a bow tie on it. You saw the debate. The moderators, in plain sight, knowing 50, 60 million people were watching, said, screw it. We're going to prosecute one and kiss the ass of the other. That's what they did. And they don't care. You know why? They don't get in trouble. Who oversees them? Who makes them accountable? Nobody. They have their own fiefdom. They can do what they want, they can say what they want, and get away with it. And for one certain party, it does not matter what they do. That one certain party, they can all be the Antichrist. They're untouchable. Unless you're really, really, really bad in plain sight, like if you have a bunch of gold bars at your house, like Menendez, or whatever his name was. So we're just letting you know it's game on. Anybody on one side of the aisle is fighting not only a candidate, but a whole media complex. And let me repeat, they did it to Romney. They love Romney now. They did it to Cheney. They love Cheney now. They're talking nice about Cheney, who they called Darth Vader. Remember how they treated Palin? I thought women were supposed to be treated a certain way, not only if you're on one side. So we're just letting you know. And it's a shame, because we here, this show, we hold them all to account. All of them. And we'll continue. As far as the assassination attempt, I have more questions. The guy was supposedly now, we're finding out that he cased the joint, the golf course, for 12 hours? They're supposed to have advanced teams. Advanced teams. Advanced teams. What's going on? I know they mean well. I think they mean well. I gotta believe they mean well. It's the Secret Service. And as we're finding out, one Secret Service person saw the barrel of the rifle out of the shrubs. It's so weird. We still haven't got the answers on the first assassination attempt, which is doubly weird because the scumbag who's dead, they had him. He was there. He was cited, and they did nothing. And as you know, I'm not a big conspiracy theorist, except JFK was murdered by more than one person. Just go look at the video. They tell you to look at the video, but no, don't believe what you see. Anyway, we will get back on policy big time tomorrow, but wow. Interesting, Trump's reaction. This was his reaction when they took him away from the golf course. His first words, I wanted to finish the hole. Can't say he's not funny. We move on. A few things. The markets. The weakness for quite a while now have been big tech. Notice how we segue so easy. And semiconductors. We had another day today where the weakness was big tech and semiconductors. When you see the numbers at the end of the day, you will see the Dow up 228, the Dow 30. You will see the NASDAQ down 91 and the semiconductors down 70, which, by the way, was off the lows. That continues. If I had $1 for every analyst in the last week, especially some famed ones, and we're not going to name names, because I must say they have done a yeoman's job. No, look up the word yeoman. Over the last so-and-so amount of time on big tech that had done so well, but it's not their time right now. Apple, if I had $1 for every one of them, excuse me, I should not cough into the mic. If I had $1 for each one that said Apple is going to blow the doors off on the new Apple iPhone 16. And the reason they said that, the AI. We said to you on this show, so they're telling us we can put the phone up to a restaurant and all of a sudden the menu comes up and the phone number and whatever, and I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, we can do that anyhow. What's so good about that? For example. And of course there are other things, maybe an improvement here, improvement there. But I remember also the 5G, it's going to be a big upgrade cycle, and it wasn't. What I do believe, just so you know, I don't even know which iPhone I have, but I know I haven't gotten a new one in a while. My phone doesn't work as well anymore. When I type something into a text and I try to send it, I have to shut the screen off and bring it back up and then send it. I think they do that on purpose, but I digress. The pre-orders on the Apple new iPhone, less than expected. Doesn't sound like a lot, but Apple was down 3% today. 3% for an Apple's a lot. We'll see what tomorrow brings. Down on a little bit of volume today, 216. The high recently was 233 2 weeks ago. The high was 237 in July. And then there's the semiconductors. Just rough. Just rough. Up next, we'll talk the semis. But what be working? I'm Gary. This is the one and only Investor's Edge.
Listening to
America is talking.
Investor's Edge.
He's got to be pleased with that. The crowd is just on its feet here. He's a Cinderella boy.
With Gary Kaltbaum.
Comes highly recommended. You're going to feel better if you talk to him.
And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. Thanks for being with us today. Also be watching out for bad reactions to earnings. Adobe down another $15 today after gapping down on Friday. But I will state for the record, strength. Decent chart patterns have been working decently. Things that have been breaking out, been working. In the last couple of days, they were not working before. Last Wednesday, the market was sinking like a stone, reversed, and better. And where is the leadership? First off, we'll bore you to death. Utilities. Real estate investment trusts, insurance, financials, but not all. Blackstone just broke out at 146. It's already 154 in 3 days. Their earnings and sales are way down year over year. Market doesn't care. Bank of New York near a new yearly high, but JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs and Citigroup and Wells Fargo and Bank of America are below the 50-day moving average. So mixed bag there. Economically sensitive names that were nice and tight, maybe looking to break out, then break down, then reverse. Some of them starting to edge out of range. We'll see if they stick. And what we mean by economically sensitive, when the economy's strong, they really go. But also there's another part to that equation. When economic policy, monetary policy is loose, they tend to work good. And the 10-year yield is now down to 3.62%. Down from 5. Was down again today. Good news. Not all, though. There's plenty weak. UPS, economically sensitive, bear market. For example. And then we have the Fed on Wednesday. So let me stop for a couple of minutes and give you a real good explanation, because I don't think it is explained very well. Our central bank, the all-important, what they do is control something called Fed funds rates. It is what banks and lenders deal with each other. Banks back and forth, lend, deposit, and the like. The free market, the bond market, that's what traders, investors, speculators do based on what they believe. We call it the smart money. And they've been buying up bonds left and right. When you buy up a bond, yields come down. When you sell a bond, yields go up. And in the case of the 10-year yield, which is the most important because it is attached by the hip to mortgages, other loans, car loans, and the like. It's gone from 5 to 3.6 since last October and 4.7 to 3.6 since April. The Fed has stuck at 5.25% and hasn't moved. They're way behind. And normally that would probably cause some problems. When they were behind on inflation and stayed at 0%, they were at 0, while interest rates went up. They had to play catch up on raising rates, and that hurt the market. Right now, for whatever reason, these lower rates, the real rates, are helping the market. Notwithstanding, we had a meltdown and a mini meltdown last week. So the Fed on Wednesday is going to lower their rate. Everybody was thinking for a while it's 5, but now the thought of 4 3/4. We believe it'll be a 0.5 point to 4 3/4 on the low end because the Fed, what they do is they leak. What they do, they have favored media that leak. And when they leak to these people, this part of the media will come out and won't say what the Fed said. They'll say, we believe they're looking at a 0.5 point now. We think they have leaked that. We would now be surprised if they don't play catch up a little bit more with a 0.5 point because yields are much lower than that. We think also a chance because they're corrupt, and we say that to their face. A bunch of them resigned in the last few years because of insider trading violations that we'd go to jail for, but they just, bad ethics. We believe there's a chance that they let some people in on it last week, and that's what turned the market. We'll know Wednesday. We have no idea how the market reacts to whatever they do on Wednesday. There is a component in our thought that maybe we get some sell the news because it's the most anticipated rate cut in a very long time. But we really don't know. And as of today, they bought up again financials of different stripes, economically sensitive, and the like, and some housing. All these areas that would get a benefit from lower rates. Best way I can explain it. Last week, the financials were trashed. They bounced today. As we get closer, we hate the fact that we got to deal with this every, 6 weeks, right? I think it's every 6 weeks. If we became president of the United States, I don't know if I'd abolish them, but I'd change it to 4 times a year. If not, get rid of them. We don't think they provide anything that benefits anything. All the talk that they're engineering the economy, they aren't engineering squat. We are. They're about as overrated can be in comparison to the free market. The buying and selling of you and I and big institutions. On to Wednesday we go. But another good day for the lower beta, which is, we use the word boring, but there's nothing boring. I mean, utilities are up 8% from the breakout. So is the REITs. That's a good move. I may have to delve into them one day. While the semiconductors and a lot of tech don't do well. Big changing of the guard. And as I stated for you, economically sensitive. The economy's not doing great, but the market will anticipate or telegraph or react in advance of. And in case you don't know, monetary policy matters very much so. So that'll be Wednesday. We hate the fact we have to deal with it. We don't think he's bright. We don't think he engineers anything. We, the people, engineer everything. But he does matter. He will not create a job, not do anything for the economy with whatever move he does. We think the free market, the real market's been doing the job. He'll get the credit for it, which nauseates the hell out of me when they've been wrong about everything. But welcome to our world where you can fail and still be applauded. Obviously not a football team like the Giants, because if you fail, well, you lose. Up next, what else? The market and news. I'm Gary. This is the one and only Investor's Edge.
You're listening to...
What are we waiting for? Well, what are you waiting for?
1, 2, ready, go.
Action!
Investor's Edge with Gary Kaltbaum.
Ba-da-da. By the way, the NBC guy is Lester Holt, who, by the way, I've had nothing but respect for him throughout the years, but he has gone into the tank also, obviously. Obviously gone into the tank. I had a few little market things, and we'll finish up with a couple other things. Just want to let you know, we get asked all the time about Warren Buffett and things he's doing, and we've been asked about, he has tons of cash. One of the big machas at Berkshire Hathaway just sold off a ton of his stock. Do I think that means Warren Buffett is wary of the market? My answer is an emphatic yes. In the past, he's had magnificent timing, not perfectly, but there's always lead time, but always kind of sort of in the vicinity. And I'm talking about within a year of him being in tons of cash, of problems arising, and he does it, just so you know, based usually valuation. Not necessarily predicting doom, but valuation. He's big on not paying $2 for a dollar bill. Is he going to be right this time? I don't know. Or maybe start spending the money on things, which brings me to a couple of names just to remind you. He owns a ton of Occidental Petroleum. The stock has gone from 71 to 51 in the last 6 months because of oil prices. He's been buying. He bought at 60, 56, 55, 60. I'm going back a year. He's been buying all the way through. He couldn't give a crap that he's down on it. He's buying a company. I think eventually he buys the whole thing up, but I do not know. That is just a guess. And we'll see how it goes. He did sell down a lot of Apple, and people are worried about that. But my guess is he just ended up with too much of Apple and still owns a ton, and he's up pretty big. Remember, he bought Apple, I believe, in 2016 in the midst of a bear market, and people were laughing at him. And you know what the stock's done since. And he just bought into Ulta Salon, ULTA. The stock jumped on that news. And is up a little bit since. I'm interested in watching it. The big issue is growth. I'm reading here, I don't know if this is updated, but like 1,400 stores in 50 states. Sales growth has been, last quarter was only 1% and earnings were down. But don't think for a second, I don't watch everything he does. Why not watch the billionaires? So just letting you know, we've been asked a lot about it. We are not advocating buying, selling, shorting, or covering any of these things. We just like, follow the billionaires. Why not? Oil stocks still weak. Bearish phase. Commodity stocks still weak. Bearish phase. They bounced a little bit today. We don't buy anything in bearish phases or in downtrends. We really have no interest, and we'll always tell you to avoid. It's a simple thought process. Avoid. We'll never buy into no sales junk. And boy, there's been a lot of that over the last few years. We are very wary, and we warned you on GameStop, the valuation of Trump. Valuation does matter to us, and it's very easy. Valuation is the amount of shares outstanding times the price. You come up with a market cap, and you can add things up. If you see a company with a $10 billion market cap with $100 million in sales, that's kind of on the expensive side. These are the things we watch. We gave you the heads up on the Trump stock when it was in the 60, 70. We said to you it was worth $1, but you add in the Trump name. Let's call it 10. It's down to 17. And again, it's not political, but you can't have market caps, not in the trees, but in the redwoods. Now, if you're growing like crazy, you can grow into it, but it's not a growing entity. We warned you about GameStop when that roaring kitty jackass came out. That he got it. God bless him. I don't have that influence. The stupid stock went from 10 to 65, but went right back to 17 in 5 days. Was able to run it one more time to 48, and then the jackass did that streaming and showed that he was a jackass. And the stock is back down to 20. Let me give you the best way to explain a business going the wrong way. You ready? Sales. Year over year, and you always do year over year because of seasonality, but also you can go from quarter to quarter if you want, but let's do year over year. Sales -9, -19, -29, and in the quarter just ended July 31st, there were 31% less sales than the year before. What does that tell you? It's all you need to know. It happened with Bed Bath & Beyond, slowly then quickly. It happened with Kmart, Sears, J.C. Penney. So just letting you know how things work. They're going to end up shutting a bunch of stores. It just very tough business. The streaming's taken over. Who needs to go to a GameStop? That's what's going on. And don't get me, they still do business. It's just they did $798 million for the July ending quarter. But the year before was $1.16 billion. So when all was said and done, I don't care about a roaring kitty Does not matter to me. When all is said and done, there's always an eventuality. If the company's growing leaps and bounds and making all kinds of money and margins are expanding and there's demand where people are flocked around the corner to buy the goods or the services, you will have a stock that is rising. And then when you see the opposite, that's all. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great evening. And don't get mad for our opinions. Think about our opinions. And when you get home, do like we do. Quite simple. Make sure you hug your family. Make sure you hug your children. They will feel better. You will feel better. I promise. Same time tomorrow. We'll be back. Peace out, all. Serenity now. Good night.
This has been Investor's Edge with Gary Kaltbaum on BizTalk. To listen to past episodes or to get in contact with Gary, go to GaryK.com. That's GaryK.com.